Another loop at our disposal is the do loop. Do loops are versatile structures that repeat a block of code until a certain condition is met. The do loops provide more flexibility in controlling the looping process. The do loop is particularly used when we don't know in advance how many times the loop needs to execute, as we can dynamically control the loop's termination based on a specific condition. There are two types of do loops. We have do while loops and the do until loops. What is the do while loops? A do while loop executes the code block as long as a specific condition remains true. This loop structure is handy when you need to repeat a task until a certain condition is no longer met. Let me show you an example using a spreadsheet so that you can understand it better. Okay, so this is our data set, and here we want to calculate the benefit of each employee using their salary, and the formula for doing this is 40% of each employee's salary. So that is how we can calculate the benefit each employee will get. We already know their salary, and we are asked to look for the benefit of each employees, and the formula to get it is 40% of each employee's salary. We can use the do while loop to get the answer to this. It's very easy, so just follow me as I show you how you can do it. We open our developer tab, then we go to Visual Basic Editor to write our code. I already copy my code, so I just have to paste it here for you to see, then I will explain it. Okay, so this is my code. This is the title of the code. Then dim x as integer. The variable x is declared as an integer and assign a value 3 because the data set started from row 3. So you can find it here. You can see row 1, row 2, and row 3. This is where the main data set started from, excluding row 2, which has the heading. Okay, so let's go back. Then do while, this is where we now use the do while loop. Says open bracket x comma 3, which is here, refers to cell in the x row and the third column, which is column C. So the loop will continue as long as the cell is not empty. So this 3 stands for the third column. If you look at the data set, the calculation begins here, and this is the third column. This is the first column, second column, and the third column. So that x comma 3, the 3 there stands for the third column, and the loop will continue as long as the cell is not empty. Then says x comma 4 dot value equals to cell x comma 3 dot value multiplied by 0.4. Inside the loop, the value of the cell in column C, which is the cells here x comma 3, is multiplied by 0.4. It is 40%, and that means 0.4. The result of the calculation is assigned to the cell in the same row but in column D, which is this cell x comma 4. So this is x comma 4. So the calculation starts here, and the result of the calculation is assigned to the cell in the same row but in column D, which is s comma 4, and this is the s comma 4. So this is s comma 3. This is where the calculation starts. The result appear in this column, which is the fourth column. Then the next line, we have x equals to x plus 1. The variable x means that x is increasing by 1, moving to the next row for the next repetition of the loop. So that is just it. So x equals to x plus 1. The variable x is increasing by 1. Then we have the loop here. The loop continues until an empty cell is encountered in column C. So loop means when the code runs to this place, it goes back again and continues until an empty cell is encountered in column C, at which point the loop terminates and we now get to the end sub. Once the loop finished, the subroutine also end. So this is the procedure to do that calculation that we want. We want to get the benefit of each employee, and the benefit is 40% of the salary. This is how you can write it. Like I said before, it's very easy. You just declare a variable and assign a value to that variable. What you assign here will depend on where your data set started from. Mine started from row 3, So that is why I have 3 there. If your data set starts from row 2, you can use that as your X. So mine started from row 3, that's why I'm using 3 there. Then you continue, which is the do while. Remember, this is the loop, and we are using the do while loop. So the do while loop comes in, then says, and in bracket X comma 3. That 3 there refers to the third column, which is column C. And the loop will continue as long as the cell is not empty. So this is how you do it. It's an empty cell. Then we now go to the next column, which is the cell X comma 4, which is where we want the answer to appear. Then dot value, the value is equals to cell X comma 3 multiplied by the value, which is 0.4. So we are multiplying 0.4 with the value in column 3. Okay, so I will just click on run and let's see what's going to happen. All right, so let's go back. You can see the answer has been generated. This is the answer for all the benefits for all employees. You can see we have been able to use the do while loop to get the answer. Now, I don't know if this question is in your mind, but if it is in your mind and you are asking, how do we know when to use the do while loop? This is when you should use the do while loop. Use the do while loop when you want to repeat a set of statements as long as the condition is true. So if you have a set of statements, or if you have a condition whereby it is the same and you want it to repeat for all the cells in that particular column, then the do while loop is preferable to be used at that scenario. So as far as you know, this condition or this formula will not change or does not change, and you want that formula to run all through the data set, that is when you use the do while loop. Like for this one we just did right now, no empty cell and everything is just true, which is what we want, 40%. No opposite condition, nothing like there is a clause somewhere. It's just 40% or true. That is when you use the do while. Okay, so I'm very sure that is clear right now. Let's go to the next do loop function. The next one is do until loop. A do until loop is similar to a do while loop, except it continues executing the code block until a condition becomes true. So for do while loop, the condition is already true and you want it to repeat until the condition is no longer true again. But for the do until loop, it continues executing the code block until a condition becomes true. This type of loop is useful when you want to repeat a task until a certain condition is satisfied. I know this may not really be clear, so I want to give you a real life example so you can see it at work. Okay, this data set here, we want to use the do until loop to calculate the sum of these numbers and display the result in this cell here, which is B2. Normally we can use the sum function, which is the Excel function, to do it, but we can also use the Excel VBA, in particular the do until loop in Excel VBA, to achieve that result. And that is what I want to show you right now. So let's go to the Visual Basic Editor. So here's my procedure and I want to explain it as I normally do. Okay, so this is the title. Then I'm declaring a variable here, which is dim x as integer. Then I'm declaring another variable again, which is dim sum result as double. Now the sum result is the total result that I want at the end of the day. Why double? Why did I use double here? Why didn't I use integer? Or this is the first time you are seeing double? Yes, double is a data type used to represent double precision floating point numbers. Double precision means that it can store decimal numbers with higher precision and a large range of values compared to the integer data type. So that is why I will use double. So in case you see someone writing the VBA code and use as double or as long, these two data types are much more bigger than integer. The double data type can store numbers with decimal places and bigger numbers that integer cannot store. I just say let me use it there so you can see that we can also use another data type. So if you don't know the answer or you have a feeling that the number may be bigger, you just use double so that you won't get error as the result. Okay, so let's proceed. Then we have x equals to 2. This means that the loop will start from the second row in column A. If we check, we can see this is x equals to 2. So our loop will start from here. That is why we have x equals to 2. So it means that we start from row 2 in the first column, which is column A. Then we have the do until the cell x comma 1 equals to empty cell. So The loop will continue until an empty cell is encountered, which means the loop will run from 2 here to this place. Then when it gets to this point, this is an empty cell, it will stop. So that is the meaning of that statement there. Then the x comma 1 means 1 here stand for the first column, which is A, which is where we have the numbers there. So the column where you have the digits that you want to sum or that you want to work with is what you include here. So if that digit is in column 2, you clean that one there and put 2 there. If it's in column 7, that place we have 7 there. So if you continue until an empty cell is encountered, then we have the sum result equals to sum result plus the result, which is the value we have in the first column there. I also explained this x equals to x plus 1 in the previous one. Then loop, you can see it goes back again. So when it calculates this, it goes back. Then this is the result, output the result in cell B. So this is 2 comma 2, then equals to the sum result. That is where we want the sum result to come out. 2 comma 2 means row 2 column 2. If you look at this column here where we want the result to come out, this is column 2, and if you look at it, this is row 2, so that is the 2 comma 2, which is row 2 column 2. So then we end the subroutine. So let's run this procedure and see what we are going to get. Okay, we have done that. Let's go back to our spreadsheet and see the results. Okay, so we got 45. So the sum of all these numbers is 45. If you want to confirm, you can run your Excel function, which is a sum function, and you see that the answer will still be 45. So there we have it for this section. Throughout this section, we have explored the practical application of control structures such as the if-else and select case statement, and also the power of loop structures like the for loops and the do loops in the realm of Excel VBA. Now remember, control structures allow us to make decisions and direct the flow of our macros, while loop structures enable us to automate repetitive tasks. By combining these techniques, we can create robust and efficient Excel VBA macros that enhance our productivity and unleash the full potential of Excel. Now here comes your first assignment. So you have this assignment that goes like this. You have a data set of temperatures in Celsius. Use an Excel VBA loop structure to convert these temperatures to Fahrenheit. The formula to convert Celsius to Fahrenheit is Celsius multiplied, which is the value in Celsius multiplied by 9/5 plus 32. Perform the calculation until an empty cell is encountered in column A. So this is the question and this is the data set. You have to convert Celsius to Fahrenheit. So you have to use one of the loop function. You can see the question. To make it easy, I just have to use that statement, use an Excel VBA loop structure. If I want to make it difficult, I won't even mention that. I will just tell you convert Celsius to Fahrenheit and this is the data set, do that. But I'm giving you an idea, use an Excel VBA loop structure. So you either use the do while or the do until. I won't tell you which to use, but use a loop structure to do that. Which of the loop structure to use is left for you. I'm very sure you received the message I sent you when you enrolled in this course. So my email address is there. You can go back to that message to get my email address and send your assignment to me. Okay, so I have also included my email address so that those who may not find that message again won't start searching. So this is my email address. Send the answer to my email address. I already have the answer. So if your answer is wrong, I will return your email by sending you the answer, the VBA code and everything for you to run it yourself. So what I need is just the VBA code to this question. So this is the data set. You can send it as a text document file. So you know how to create a text document file. This is an example of a text document file. So you can just go there, go to new, then go to text document file. So if you open it, it gives you the space to input your code. So here we have it. So you can just paste the VBA code here. It's very easy. You can see what I did there. So this is how the code look like. Then you save it and send me this particular code. So I will go through it. If it is wrong, I will return the email with the right answer. If it is correct, I will let you know that it is correct. Alright, so I look forward to your assignment.